Stories of ghosts and ghouls come from all around the world. It's just something that every country has in some form. Whether it's a haunted building or a ghoul sighting in a haunted forest, every country has some. But which countries are the most haunted? And what are people's stories about them? On today's list, we will be going over the most haunted countries in the world with real-life stories. You won't want to miss this video. Now on to the list. First up, number 10, Italy, Poveglia Island. In the Venice Lagoon between Venice and Lido, this small island was a place where mainlanders fled to seek refuge from invaders. In the 14th century, Venetians infected by the bubonic plague were sent here to die, and when they died, they were burned on giant pyres. The site was also used as a mental asylum during the 1800s, where patients were experimented on and tortured. Ask a local and they will tell you the island is full of ghosts and cursed with unhealthy spirits. Voices and screams are often heard, and visitors have reported seeing dark, fleeting shadows. Many visitors say they begin to feel an oppressive, evil feeling as soon as they step on the island. Next up is number 9, Australia, the separate prison, Port Arthur. Until the late 1800s, the separate prison in Tasmania's secluded Port Arthur housed some of Britain's toughest criminals. Taking inspiration from the works of British writer Jeremy Bentham, this panopticon-style prison block thrived on completely isolating prisoners to a torturous degree. Hundreds of inmates are said to wander the halls at night. They are said to be wearing hoods. These are said to be a handful of the 1,000 people buried in the unmarked burial ground. Port Arthur is now a historic site museum open to the public. There are nightly ghost tours if you're feeling brave. Next up is number 8, Argentina, La Recoleta Cemetery. Located in the Recoleta neighborhood of Buenos Aires, the Cementerio de la Recoleta is regarded as one of the most beautiful cemeteries in the world. First built in 1822, it is full of ornately designed tombs, elaborate sculptures, and mature shady trees. Buenos Aires' best and brightest are buried here, including actress Eva Perón, the former First Lady of Argentina. The reported ghosts are supposedly multiple spirits wandering the grid-like aisles of Recoleta. There are so many famous urban legends about this place, and so many people have experienced something here, it's insane. Next up is number 7, United Arab Emirates, Jazirat al-Hamra. Number 7 on our list was once a flourishing pier fishing village. Jazirat al-Hamra was completely abandoned in the 1960s. Some have said it was because of tribal conflicts in the area, but others have blamed it on the changing tides as well. The most popular theory, however, is that the residents were driven away by the ghosts of the island. The legend states that the ruins are haunted by malicious jinns who wander the dirt roads of the town. These jinns are said to be disguised as animals. People in the area regularly hear strange noises. Another thing about these ruins is that they are also a regular filming location for Hollywood directors. Next up is number 6, England, the Langham Hotel. The 153-year-old Langham Hotel has long been a staple of the high life in London. Literary legends Oscar Wilde and Mark Twain stayed here, and the luxury accommodation provides the setting for a famous Sherlock story, A Scandal in Belgravia by Arthur Conan Doyle. As befits one of London's finest 5-star hotels, the ghosts that haunt the corridors here are a cut above too. Reports have suggested that there are at least 5 ghosts in the 500-room establishment, with the room number 333 rumored to be the most haunted of all. The hotel has a lengthy history, so it makes sense that people would run into some sort of spirits. Next up is number 5, Puerto Rico, Teatro Tapia. This Italian-style opera house was first built in 1824. It's been the center of the city's cultural life for over 100 years. Other than the supernatural thing going on, the place is worth a visit on its own. Supposedly, the stalls in the opera house are said to be haunted by the spirit of an actress who once fell to her death during a performance on stage. Her venture from beyond the grave causes people to hear sounds and singing coming from the stage when no one is there. The place runs normally, but its supernatural connection seems to draw people in for other spookier reasons. Next up is number 4, Mumbai, India, Taj Mahal Palace. Everyone knows what the Taj Mahal Palace is. It's a famous landmark that people admire. It is arguably the grandest hotel in Mumbai and has been the place to wine, dine, and sleep since the days of the Raj. One of the hotel's architects, W.A. Chambers, threw himself from the 5th floor balcony. Apparently, he was distressed when he returned from a trip abroad to discover that the hotel's design had gone in a completely different direction in his absence. In a tragic twist of fate, his ghost is said to wander the halls and the old wing of the hotel. Next up is number 3, Canada, Carl Beck House. This amazing-looking house was built by a Canadian lumber magnate. Carl Beck created this house, and after his wife died, his eldest daughter took over as the head of the household. Occupants and guests staying at Carl Beck House have reported seeing a suited-up man being chased by a very angry woman wearing a dark-colored blouse and skirt. This is supposedly the creator of the house himself and his wife. The house is used as an Airbnb, so it's safe to say that many people have seen these two in the night. Next up is number 2, China, Chaonei Church. Chaonei 81, commonly known as Chaonei Church, was first built in 1910, not as a church but as the North China Union Language School to teach Mandarin Chinese to missionaries from the West. From the 1930s, the Chaeyang Men neighborhood of Beijing's most imposing house served as a Catholic church until the communist government took control of the building in the 1950s. Truth be told, there's still a bit of a dispute as to the building's true origins. One tale about the church is that you'll either come across the government's official mistress who killed herself or a vanishing construction worker. And finally, number 1, Colombia, Casa de la Poesia. The final country on our list is Colombia. Located in the Candelaria neighborhood of Bogota, Casa de la Poesia was the home of the great modernist poet José Asuncion Silva. He was known to be quite morbid and lived through several personal tragedies, including the death of his beloved sister, Elvira. He also lost many of his finest works, handwritten manuscripts, during a shipwreck. José died in the house in 1896 at the young age of 30. In 1995, it was declared a Colombian national monument for its historic significance. Señor Silva himself is said to still haunt his house. Visitors frequently report hearing the poet muttering under his breath from other rooms. And that's our list. The world's most haunted places seem to vary from people who have died recently and tales of the past that no one can really explain. It's cool to see the varied ghostly sightings from throughout the world. Each country has their own type of story, and they all link to their culture. None of them seem too far-fetched, as these tales have happened and could have happened. The variation in stories shows just how real this sort of thing can be. While it's hard to rank countries on being haunted, it's easy to find out which one is the spookiest or weirdest. Some of the ones on this list were pretty standard for ghost stories and sightings, while some of the later ones were very interesting. We got to see some tales of murder and sadness, but also some tales of the past. The idea of people being haunted and it not being explainable is very interesting. It just shows us how weird our world can get and just what could be out there. Ghosts are something that not many people seem to believe in, and it's hard to do so if you haven't experienced something like we covered today. These stories have been told by so many people who haven't been told beforehand. Something like that cannot be a coincidence. Whilst we have no proof of them existing, it's fun to think about these tales being true. They are all so interesting and add some more history to places like these. The places on this list have even garnered more attention for themselves with these tales, especially the Opera House. People come from all over the world to see things and experience things like this. It's really cool. Our world is full of some interesting things. Maybe one day we'll find out if ghosts really exist. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let us know down in the comments below if you did. Also tell us what other countries and tales you know involving haunted stuff and ghosts. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe with notifications on. Thanks for watching.